live on Osbc TV, 113 on Star Times 502 on Free TV, and we're live on YouTube every weekday in the morning, breakfast time. Yes, we look into situations around us, current matters, current affairs that determine our well-being as a people, as a country, and in our state. This morning is not with an exception as we look at what is trending, not just what is trending, trying to understand the way to go in our lives. My name is Benga Famino, welcoming everyone on board. I have with me in the house a friend of the house, definitely a public analyst, to do justice to the issue of still part of the electoral process in Nigeria, the recent happening in Adamawa State, to be precise. Please welcome with me our father in the Lord, a clergy, Reverend Uluwatoyin. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
This
morning, sir. Good morning, viewers.
Yes, sir. Talking about our desire to see a better Nigeria. There's something in us that wish to see it happen in 24 hours. That, oh, how nice it would be that, okay, 2023, all our problems could just end. But it's like the more we wish that our problems should end, the faster we hope it will end, the more problems we are having on our hands. The Adamawa scenario is like so shocking, and many of us perhaps have not recovered from it. That is it true or is it not true? To start with, how did you feel, sir, when you learned about the incidents in Adamawa?
I feel so bad. I'm so disappointed because one would have expected that such thing will not even happen again in Nigeria. Not even to think of it, or thought of it. But when I saw all the clips, read from the news, I felt so bad, and it's quite unfortunate. I condemn it in totality, no matter what.
Okay, which part would you condemn? As in the reaction from the people, was it not out of dissatisfaction, thinking that some powers that be were just trying to bend the arms of the law anyhow?
You see, democracy is not always about negative agitations.
Okay.
Two wrongs can never make a right. The electoral law, 2022 electoral law, gave a lot of room for any redress of anything you know after the election, during the election, that you thought was wrong. There is a way you can go after the election. You can go to court. It may take time. And thank God, in the electoral law of 2022, they have stipulated some time frames of how a petition can go. Unlike before, when you have electoral petition for 3 years, 4 years, and then things will be truncated. But this time around, it is the law is there. There is a maximum period of trial and every other thing. What the people did, yes, they felt disappointed, and then you know that in any situation when you have any riot, one truth that people forget to understand is that riot may be on a good note, on a good reason, but the method of rioting itself is negative.
But in this case, the problem was, as alleged, the coalition has not even ended, and someone declaring results.
That was very wrong, because once the election, because I read the article and I saw on the news, and I realized that it is wrong for anybody to even declare the election being over. But in the Electoral Act, if you, for example, if you have about 1,000 polling units, and you have gotten about over 900, and you consider the number of voters registered, those who register for the election in that area that were being, you are expecting the result from, there is a kind of a way of saying, oh, based on the maximum percent of result we have gotten, this can be. But the chairman of the INEC residential chairman over there, what they did with people around, because I know that he couldn't have done it alone. He has some other people along with him. And if they've seen that one, they've seen those irregularities, the law is very clear about it. You cannot take laws to your hands. What the people are supposed to do is that, okay, after they have been showing their, their anger or their decent voices on what they are saying that is happening, they can still wait and let the election, let him bring all the, sir, you have not brought this, you have not, but what they have done it to a certain extent that they have taken laws into their hands. And that is not allowed in the civil society.
That's not pardonable.
It's not part. So no matter what they have seen so far, the action they have taken, honestly, I think it will send signal to the INEC official from the national to the local government, to understand that yes, election must be properly conducted and preparation must be very, very adequate. I think one of the problems they had at Adamawa State is the preparation was not well articulated. Because if that had happened, I don't see any reason why, because there is a limited time for you to submit the results if the election has been taken, if people have cast their votes.
Originally, they needed to have supplementary election.
Yes, supplementary election. Other states have it. We have some in Ogun State. We have some in other states. If anything like that happen, you can have a supplementary election. You can even say that this election is inconclusive. Let's see what will happen. It has been happening everywhere. The provisions are there in the constitution, but taking laws into their hands, no matter how genuine. One of my guys will say that there is no wrong way of doing what is good to make it good. There is no wrong way of doing what is good to make it right or make it good, because there is no way. What they are trying to fight for is, okay, our voice must be heard, our votes must count, and our wishes must be represented in this election. But once you are taking this wrong way, two wrongs can never make it right. Let us see what you are doing. Okay, you have declared this. No, we disagree with this. And when you now come back, the INEC can be sued. They also can sue people. And if the element is there and you are not happy with what has happened, I think what is supposed to be.
But this is a country where the people believe that the judiciary has become so weakened.
You see, the problem we have in Nigeria,
the confidence in the judiciary is so low.
The problem we have in Nigeria is that we do everything on how do I call it, like man to man, and that is a big problem. The judiciary in Nigeria today is being politicized, so to say, because even if you go to I always believe this. One man said Nigerian law is like a cobweb that cannot arrest an elephant but can arrest many flies. You read on the paper, and then I read or 2 tubers of yam being sent to prison for 30 days or 6 months, and somebody stole millions of now billions, and you're now asking to pay 500,000 naira out of billions they are stolen. So the mentality of the people now about the judiciary is that, get them before they get you. Before you even go to the judiciary or to ask for anything, take laws, do what you can do. People don't, and that is the problem we're having. And until we get that right, and I can say that.
Are you also agreeing that a society with injustice, full of injustice, is a potential place for anarchy?
That is the truth.
Then perhaps we cannot just condemn the people. The reaction in Adamawa.
The reaction of people in the Adamawa, why I condemn them to a certain extent is because there are other ways of doing it. There are civil ways of doing things. No, making that man striping of his cloth, making him naked. The man is a father. The man has been in the system. He has been working for I don't know how many years. The humiliation of that particular man. You see, a tree cannot make a forest. Whatever the man had done had the hands of some people who agreed with him. He cannot just come out and manufacture the result or announce it. I'm sure some people have told him, go ahead, do and do this. But there are ways that that can be done. And I blame our security agencies who were there as well. For a man like that, the man was there. I am not supporting whatever negative things he might have done. But as a person, he's a citizen of this country. He's supposed to be protected by, where were the security agencies when that man was being taken, when he was being beaten, and when he was being stripped naked? Where were they? It shows that something is wrong. No matter, I don't want to go a little bit, because the security agencies that are around are to be questioned. People who are supposed to be the part of the cabinet of that man also supposed to be questioned. And when people now took the laws into their hands and did what they did, I think the government can come out with something and make it work well. That yes, these people, they are angry. And you know, in the problem of mob, when you have a riot like that, hardly can you pinpoint anybody or arrest anybody. And Nigeria, we have made social media to the extreme now, that because some people, the news was not actually reported by the INEC or the people that were concerned. People that recorded it or maybe on their phones, uploaded it, and that is a problem. Nigeria system, every part of the Nigeria system is affected now, because the executive cannot take any laws to that. No matter how that any government that comes in Adamawa State now, many will see that government as illegitimate, either this party or that party. They will say, oh, there was a riot and there was something that happened, and people just, okay, this may not be the wishes of the people, and that is the problem we're having. And the judiciary is not helping the matter. The legislature too, when you come back to them, they will not, the way they will interpret the law, it will be quite different. And that is why I always believe that no matter what the law is saying, there is human being before the law. No law is perfect. The humanity must be considered first before you talk about the law. Like when we say it in the church or any religious organization, we said, look, before you think about the law, before you think about your right, think about humanity first. And that is where they lost it. Because no matter what they are fighting for, they may be right, they may be wrong, but the steps they took was not the best. If we were to be in some other countries, thank God we are not in a military era. If we were to be military era, I believe that what we are saying now may not be what we'll be saying in this country. And thank God that we have somebody, maybe, oh, I am about going. The president saying I'm about going. If he was to act like a former military man, and in that area, and he has interest in that area, there will be trouble. And don't forget, that state is one of the states of one of the presidential candidates. And there is no way you come back. It's a stronghold for both parties. And when, two of those parties, the APC, the PDP, and when they're going to fight on it, they know how to fight, but the fighting out dirty to that extent is not the best. The people have the right to express their disagreement on what has happened. The steps they have taken is what is not.
Can we actually put all the blames on INEC in this whole thing?
I believe so. I believe so, because the INEC, you see, I have this year's election. We pray that things, God bring His peace, because what we have in Nigeria now, till today, is what I call relative calmness, not peace. Yes, relative calmness. People are just, oh, let me look at what is happening. Not that people are now free with their mind that, oh, this is how it should be. The INEC preparation was wrong, because we should not deceive ourselves. States are different from each other. The kind of security personnel you take to Lagos State and Osun State, where you will have some kind of dissenting voices, cannot be the same you take some other states where you know that, oh, what are they having there? For example, I'm sorry to say, like Bayelsa State now. Bayelsa has about 11 local governments. Can you compare the number of security personnel you take to Bayelsa, to Osun State, or to Lagos State? No, because the population is quite different. People there, their orientation are quite different. Some areas in Nigeria today, they are not even politically, active. Until you push them, they just, what is going on? Because they are volatile. But in Adamawa is a very volatile. Adamawa in the old Gongola state has been a very, very powerful area. Even when the state capital there was still even Yola, they have their own system. And in that area being carved out, it is for the government to say, okay, let's see what we can do. Let's have extra arrangements. The INEC, I put the blame at their doorstep. Number one, they know that it's going to be a very tough election, and not in the whole state, the federation at the same time. It's only for that state at that particular time. The INEC supposed to, from the national, supposed to bring in enough hands, enough personnel to work, enough security personnel to work, enough materials to work, and make sure that, oh, we are not concentrating over 28 states now.
But INEC may conveniently argue that the entire supplementary election went well. This is just a problem of a human being, of an individual, you see, who misbehaved in the process of trying to
the reporting. I believe, like I said somewhere else, I think last week, that if I send you on an errand, no matter how independent I want it to be, no matter how free I want it to be, before you make your conclusion to the public, there is integrity, and there is what we call being loyal. Oh, this is what is going on. No matter the trust the national chairman of INEC has in the state INEC chairman, resident chairman, no matter, he's supposed to have somebody there. The problem now, no matter what happened, the man will tell you, I didn't act on my own as a person. He's acting as INEC chairman, resident chairman of that state. So the INEC entirely cannot be taken away from the problem. Though the man is supposed to stand, he should supposed to, if he had done something wrong, what he has done is wrong and it's not correct, he can be sued as a person. He can be arrested, he can be prosecuted. But in a situation where that is happening, it's a kind of, if somebody can overturn the decision of a committee or the decision of the people, then that is very wrong. So the man is supposed to be, if possible at that particular time, arrested. And the election being halt, if they halt the election, and then they can also, okay, let's have, it's a supplementary election. So for God's sake, if it is not done, they can say, okay, status quo remains, and then we revisit that election. After all, the swearing is not yet, being done. But to me, I think as you blame the man for doing what he has done, maybe nobody knows what prompted him to have taken that.
He was financially induced, as alleged.
You see, the Nigeria, like, I think I've said it, maybe this station or another station, I said, election in Nigeria, politics in Nigeria, there is no political, I stand to be corrected, I'm saying it on here, there is no political party in Nigeria who never induced, either directly or indirectly, those who voted or their neck or whatever financially. Even in their budgets, it's everywhere. You will see in the budget of any party, they will put logistics, they will put this, they will say the officials. Who are the officials? So
officials.
So when you now see the officials, and like somebody told me, I read from one country outside Nigeria, that even when they if a political party now buy, maybe when the election is going on, and they buy soft drink or water, how they say, oh, this place is going to be sunny, and then the INEC has refused to provide this, they will not give you umbrella to cover your head while the election is good. If it's coming from a political party, that is bribery. So bribery or inducement is not when, like there's a state in Nigeria, I don't want to mention the name of the state, where somebody promised the INEC chairman of that state that if you can deliver and then there is no riot, no matter the result, and you are bringing this, and this person comes in, we will do this. And the man, when the election ended, the party of that man, or let me say in quotes, won. There was no riot in that state, but people also lamented that there were this what do you call it, intimidations here and there. But the man who promised to buy Jeep still bought the Jeep and presented it with, I think, 10 million naira, and it was on social media, it's on media. And people said, oh, this man, and they refused to ask question. What did you ask the man to do that he has done? He's on his official capacity working, and he has done this. Somebody has won. Yes, there was no right.
Why the special?
Why the special giving of the money and Land Cruiser? All those things, either before or after. Somebody defines, said bribery is what you give for somebody to do something, but appreciation or gratitude is what you give after he might have done it. Look, if the motion, the mindset of giving it is for you to get your result, that is bribery. So the man might have been induced, which is not out of it. It is very, very possible in Nigeria.
Now let's look at this sad reality in this country, that an average election for now in Nigeria is approached like a war. Is that how it's supposed to be? As a minister of God, how do you view that? There's a second part of the question, but you may just react to that first.
It is very sad. It is very sad. I was talking to someone. Somebody said, can we have a perfect election? And I said, sincerely speaking, no. Because even God that created us, we are not perfect. And there's no way an imperfect person will handle something that is imperfect and make it perfect. It is not mathematics, it's reality. But we can live above board. Even America, that has the best of democracy, they are still fighting on Russia collusion. They are still fighting on food buying. But they have a very standard structure. You see, any action you take and you know there will be no consequences, there's nothing, you will continue to do it. In America and some other developed countries, if you do anything, there are consequences. But in Nigeria, there are no consequences. You'll be surprised that those whom have been cheated out of one election or the other may be the one even becoming the vanguards of the election of the government that have been cheated out. And you see so there's a balance in Nigeria which is very bad. Though it is real that in politics there is no permanent friend, but what you have is permanent interest. Until we change our mind. In Europe, in America, you cannot decamp from one party to another anyhow.
They hold on to ideologies.
I'm telling you. But in Nigeria, until we get to that level where we have the ideology of what we stand for, I'm sorry to say this, but that's the truth in Nigeria. If you still go to the people, the time of Baba Awolowo, the Zik, and they had what they held on to. Until today, all parties are still trying to scramble from what they left behind. So, to me, it is absolutely wrong in cheating. You see, in the Bible or in any civil society, injustice. And what we have in Nigeria, apart from injustice, even when I cheat you in Nigeria, when somebody cheats you, the person will still show it to you. And that makes people...
That comes with impunity.
Yes. And that makes people to be very, very angry. So to me, until we get it right in Nigeria, what can we do? Number one is that, one, people should have the fear of God. Nigeria is, I read somewhere and I was laughing, but it's true that Nigeria is the most religious, one of the most religious countries.
Now let's quickly talk about that. An average listener somehow may be saying he's a minister of God. And of course, like you said, Nigeria is so religious. And every Sunday, you hardly see people on the street. Yeah. Almost everybody's in church. And every Friday, you hardly see any Muslim anywhere. Almost everybody is in mosque. Yet, we have all kinds of behaviors that are criminal in nature. The question now is, who are the people doing this? It's the same people in church and the same people in the mosque. Yes. Is that not the fault of religious leaders?
It is quite unfortunate. But that is the reality. That is the reality, because the church and the mosque, you have them doing what they are doing, and you find it difficult that even religious bodies are even contributing to the problem. And that's why I've said that it's not only about religion, it has to be spirituality. You see, many people go to church, many people go to mosque, but they are not spiritual. A spiritual person will think deeper about the consequences, about the result, about what can come out of what is going on, and they are more fearful about whom God is and what God can do. A religious person will we have many religious people going to church every Sunday, they go to mosque every Friday. In fact, some even observe the laws of the Bible or the laws in the Quran, but they have forgotten to do what they must do.
Are you suggesting that an atheist who has a lot of respect for the human life is being spiritual? Spirituality,
yes. Spirituality is beyond...
No, he doesn't believe there is God.
The atheist, that one doesn't believe in God. That one can believe in his ideologies, his own mindset.
But he has a lot of respect
for human life. Respect for human life. That is humanity. When you talk about a traditional ruler or a Muslim or a Christian, there are ways you can talk about their spiritual life. Like I've seen somebody who doesn't have Bible, but he lives a life that God wants us to live. He still prays, and he will tell you, oh, I have to do this, I believe in this, and I trust God can do this, and God is doing it. Many of the people that go to church today, some just going to church or mosque by affiliation. Let me give you an example. Sometimes ago, when there was a Christian Lenten season, and somebody said, oh, I was joking, I said, this is time I see somebody who is David by name. We now say I'm Dauda. And I said, thank God now that the Muslim
is happening almost at the same
is also happening. Now, what will happen to Dauda? Dauda will now say, I'm now David. Now that the two are coming together, what do we do? You will see somebody who is now a Christian or Muslim during Lenten season, they don't drink, they don't smoke, they don't misbehave. But once the fast is over, either Christian or Muslim, they go back. That is being religious. You are just practicing what you think you should practice, but it is, you don't have the self-conviction, and you don't have a kind of permanent and close relationship with your God. Today in the church, today in the mosque, there is nobody. I thank God for one man, I think in Osho State here, many years ago, who was a member, I think who was picked as one of the ministers in Nigeria. He's from Osho State, one of our professors. And they asked him to swear, are you a Christian or Muslim? And he said, I'm a traditionalist. Give me iron or gun or cutlass. And when he saw that the bribery and the corruption was getting too much, the man resigned. That man is spiritual. Spirituality doesn't mean that either you're a Christian or you're a Muslim. It is for you to know whom you believe in and what you stand for. Religion, the just said, is just to give us affiliation to one group or the other. And unfortunately, all these INEC officials, all these politicians, they are either Christian or Muslims. And it means they don't allow what they believe or what they trust to be part of their own thing. So number one thing we need to do is for them to become spiritual, know the God they serve, that our God, in the Bible, God is being called a merciful God, but at the same time they call him a terrible God. Jesus Christ is called the Lion of the tribe of Judah and the Lamb of God. He's from one extreme to the extreme, and God said, I'm Alpha, Omega. So if we understand that God can be good, extremely good, and when you do something wrong, it can be extremely terrible on you, then that will help. That's number two. Each party should come out with ideology. If I belong to this group and what I believe in is what they have there, I can move. But not move from here to here because I want appointment, I want this, I want that. It is killing the system, and that will continue to affect the government and the governance in Nigeria. Because even after this swearing in, the swearing coming up maybe 29th, no matter how by God's grace, after that swearing, you see some people from one party decamping to another. You will see some people from the ruling party decamping to another party to serve as opposition, because we are looking for where there will be opportunities, where their voice can be heard, where they can be settled. That's number two. Number three is that the government that may be coming in should make sure that things are being overhauled. The ambiguity in our constitutions should be addressed.
The ambiguity in our constitution should be addressed. Well, each time we talk about Nigerian situation, it looks like a country with a mountain of problems. But here we are. Our own Jerusalem is Nigeria, and the only place we can call our own. So we have only two options. It's either we give up on trying to make it better, and we all sink together with the boat, or we make things better and we are all happy at the end of the day. Talking about the incidents at Adamawa, another is it right or wrong to say another blow to the system?
Yeah, correct.
But we pray that we keep getting it right. Special thanks to everyone who has tuned in to AM Cafe Osbc TV this morning, and at the VTR MCR behind the scene. We appreciate all contributors. Yes, appreciation to the producer Obishola Ogule and the executive producer Olasukomi Oyebayo. Thank you so much for being there, and not forgetting our guest once again, Right Reverend Luatoyin Babdili, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for joining us every now and then. My name once again is Benga Famino. Appreciating you once again for tuning in. Till we come your way same time tomorrow, another edition of AM Cafe. This is wishing you a blessed day. Goodbye and God bless.